What's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Droppers Allowed. All right, so did my WWE video. You can check that out. Mainly, it was focused on Hell in a Cell last week. Now we're going to talk about AEW and their week this week. So this week on Dynamite, um, talked a little bit more about how the AEW interim title picture would work out. So of course it was announced last week by Moxley being the number one contender. He was got a bye to the qualifying match on the AEW side of things. So in the main event, Moxley would face the winner of the Battle Royal to kick off um, Dynamite, and then the winner of the Battle Royal would face Moxley. The person who would win that match would go on to meet the winner of the New Japan Pro Wrestling bracket, or New Japan Pro Wrestling match, to say, between Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hiroki Goto, which took place this morning at Dominion. All right, so the Battle Royal took place, and the Joker ended up being a returning Andrade El Idolo. So I think a lot of people may have been expecting a debut in this situation. So it was kind of cool to see Andrade back in a big spot. I wondered if he would actually win the match and then get that main event spot. However, that didn't end up happening. Kyle O'Reilly ended up winning, and then he and Moxley went on to have a heck of a match to close out Dynamite. Moxley gets the win, so he's going to Forbidden Door to wrestle as the AEW representative in the AEW Interim World Title matchup with CM Punk on the shelf having surgery. Another big development on Dynamite was Hangman Adam Page won his return match, his first match back since his loss to CM Punk and losing the AEW World Heavyweight title. He cut a promo after his match with David Finlay, which he won, to say that um, he thought about it and he almost forgot that there was more than one world title in the wrestling business, and challenged the um, then IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, the great Kazuchika Okada, um, to a match, which is going to be excellent if they still go with that match, and I'll talk about why they may not once I get into what happened at Dominion this morning. So that brought out Adam Cole to tell Hangman that, and it was a bit of foreshadowing that turned out to to come true. Adam Cole said, "Well, we don't know what's going to happen with um, the IWGP World Heavyweight Title because Switchblade Jay White was going to be wrestling Okada on Sunday this morning." So for those who may not know, spoiler alert, if you are going to watch NJPW's Dominion and you haven't gotten a chance yet, I know those Japanese pay-per-views come on pretty early in the morning. So, fast forward this or turn it off now. But in an upset, in my opinion, Switchblade Jay White defeated Kazuchika Okada, and he is the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So it is actually going to be Jay White going into Forbidden Door in 2 weeks as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So whether Hangman will get the match with Okada and it just be a non-title match, or if he will get a IWGP World Heavyweight title match, remains to be seen. I personally think we are going to get Okada and Adam Cole, which is going to be an excellent match. And I think we do end up getting Hangman versus Jay White for the IWGP World Heavyweight title at Forbidden Door. So I'll just dovetail in now into Dominion this morning, since I've already started talking about it. And the big news, the biggest news coming out of that was Kazuchika Okada losing the IWGP World Heavyweight title to Jay White. It was a shocker. I could not believe it. I thought that there would be no way that Kazuchika Okada, the great Kazuchika Okada, arguably the goat in New Japan, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, one of the best wrestlers in the world. I would not envision or could not envision Okada not being the champion on a stage as big as um, Forbidden Door in 2 weeks. Sold out show, joint pay per view, first ever joint pay per view they're doing with AEW. Um, After there was so much discussion about what those two companies work together when AEW was formed, and that's where the concept of the whole Forbidden Door came from. And it all started with um, Jericho wrestling Tanahashi, and at that point, Tanahashi could have earned a opportunity at the AEW world title if he would have beaten Jericho. That didn't happen, and we've seen the IWGP United States title show up over there as courtesy of John Moxley, Lance Archer. Um, Kenta made an appearance. We know Moxley worked. Nogata and Kojima. We've seen Minoru Suzuki come over now. So I would have definitely thought that they would have wanted Okada to be the guy, and the fact that that didn't happen makes me think that we may be looking at some very groundbreaking creative booking for both the IWGP and the AEW World Heavyweight titles. Um, so that was the biggest news from Dominion. Okada losing to Jay White, and we have a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Switchblade becomes the fifth IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So the fifth man to hold the new version of the title that was formed when Ibushi combined the Intercontinental title and the IWGP Championship. Um, Other noteworthy things that happened this morning at Dominion. Will Ospreay, who recently made an appearance on AEW Dynamite, and then he and Ozzy Open had a match on AEW Rampage. He defeated Sonata to claim the vacant United States IWGP US Championship. So I would love to see Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door in a title defense. Fingers crossed, it'll be against Daniel Bryan, which I think will be an excellent match. Even though I'm hearing that, excuse me, Bryan Danielson doing the Jim Ross. um, so I'm hearing that Zack Sabre Jr. called out Bryan Danielson, which is a dream match of mine that I would love to see. So I would hope that Will Ospreay um, defends that title on Forbidden Door against an AEW star. If it's not Bryan Danielson, um, I think this would be a cool spot for um, a Swerve Strickland. I think he would do great. Um, Keith Lee. It's kind of hard to tell because now AEW uh, introduced the All Atlantic title, which is coming out. So you know, Pac would have been a great candidate to wrestle Will Ospreay for the U.S. heavyweight title. Someone like Ray Phoenix also would be a great possibility, but I really would like to see Bryan Danielson get that title shot, or who knows if they may have other things for he and Yuta. Um, so, so we got a new U.S. champion. Will Ospreay defeated Sonata. Um, we got new tag team champions, IWGP tag team champions, United Empire. Jeff Cobb, Great Khan defeated General Jules, Bad Luck Fale, and Chase Owens to become the new IWGP tag team champions. And so seeing that the Great Khan and Jeff Cobb showed up on Dynamite and laid out FTR and talked about the ROH tag titles, I definitely believe we're gonna have either a unification match, title for title, or a straight IWGP tag team title match between the United Empire and FTR at Forbidden Door, which is going to be an excellent match. I look forward to that one. I think it's going to be great. I think FTR is currently the best tag team in the world with the work that they're doing. Still wondering when the Briscoes are going to come over from ROH and run it back with them for those ROH titles. And by them, I mean FTR. Um, so that was about the everything that was. Oh well, in the AEW interim title um, NJPW bracket or their qualifying match between Hiroshi Tanahashi and Hiroki Goto, I think all signs pointed to Tanahashi winning that match because it was supposed to be Tanahashi who was going to challenge Punk in a bit of a dream match for the AEW World Title at Forbidden Door before Punk's injury. So Tanahashi defeats Goto, stamps his ticket, and now we get a long waited and long anticipated matchup between John Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So Moxley spent a considerable amount of time in Japan before coming to AEW. Um, he's wrestled a who's who. He was in the G1, but he never wrestled Tanahashi. So this first time ever matchup between Mox and Tanahashi will be for the will be for the AEW interim world title with the winner of that match facing CM Punk down the line. So here are my thoughts and my predictions, and this may be a bit of a hot take, but I would not be surprised, and I think we may be headed toward a belt swap situation. Um, and the reason why I feel like this is because I thought that if Okada was going to be wrestling Hangman Adam Page, that obviously I don't believe Okada would have dropped the title to Hangman and then Hangman kind of be responsible for defending that title over in Japan. I just didn't think that they would have Hangman go over Okada when Okada has been such a dominant champion in this reign. He recently um, won the IWGP World Heavyweight title at this year's Wrestle Kingdom. So he beat Shingo, and then he beat um, Will Ospreay at night two. So the fact that we don't know when CM Punk is going to be out or how long he's going to be out, excuse me, and when he's going to return, I'm thinking that we get a gentleman's agreement kind of a belt swap. And I am picking right now so you guys can put me down. I'm going on record. I think Tanahashi becomes the AEW interim world heavyweight champion and he wrestles CM Punk for the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight title at All Out. So that's in September. Again, not knowing the extent of Punk's injury or how long he'll be out, but I think we get that. The Forbidden Door has been open, and I think we get Tanahashi versus Punk in Chicago at All Out for the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight title. So I know you guys probably heard me mention that I think a belt swap is going to happen. And some may be asking, well, if Tanahashi has the AEW interim world title and he's not working a full-time U.S. schedule or he's not going to be on Dynamite, what's going to happen on AEW programming? I believe Hangman Adam Page is going to beat Switchblade Jay White for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. And I think it'll be a brilliant move if it happens. I think it'll give Hangman the ability to work and defend that title not only in AEW, but then he could also make trips over to Japan and wrestle as well. And I think it makes things very, very interesting going forward. They announced the G1 Climax 32 lineup and format this year, 4 blocks of 7. And as you all know, the winner of the G1 gets a title shot at Wrestle Kingdom. So do I believe Hangman will still be the champion by then? Don't think so. I think that they would probably get that title back on an NJPW talent at some point before that, but who knows? So I think Tanahashi wins the AEW interim world heavyweight title, and I think that the IWGP heavyweight title match at Forbidden Door will be Jay White against Hangman Page, and I'm picking Hangman Page to win and defend that title on AEW programming, while Tanahashi defends the AEW interim world title on NJPW program. So let me know what you guys think about everything that happened this morning at Dominion. What happened with AEW this past week? What are your thoughts? How are you feeling about the AEW interim title picture? What are your thoughts on the All Atlantic title? I personally think that's a great idea. With as big a roster as they have now, they have that secondary title, which clearly it will be, to kind of organize and apply some, um, I guess, arrange and order that roster. So now you'll have three different titles that guys can go after. It gives genuine opportunities for progression of titles, kind of how the all the greats or seemingly most of the greats in WWF, they started with that Intercontinental title, whether it was Savage, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, Bret Hart, The Rock, all were Intercontinental champions before they ascended to becoming WWF, WWE champions. In the old WCW, the US champion, the TV champion, Sting, Stunning Steve Austin, um, Rick Rude, Great Muda, um, Dustin Rhodes, Barry Windham, Lex Luger was a long time U.S. champion before he ascended to becoming the World Heavyweight Champion, the WCW NWA champion. So I think that's great. But let me know you guys' thoughts on that and all things AEW and New Japan. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.